What's up, everyone? Looks like we have a yard machine. It's the classic style Briggs. Apparently it shoots grass out of the gap in between the bag and the door, but other than that it seems to be okay. Don't know anything about it. I did check if there's oil. It's in there. It's dirty, but it's in there. When I press the primer bulb, it does shoot something in there, but what is it shooting? It could be water. Don't know. So I think the best thing to do is we're going to put a little carb cleaner down the throat of the carb, see if it turns on, and then we'll go from there. I have a feeling we might be taking the plug out and seeing if it's water in there. Here's some carb spray. When looking at this, that is definitely water and oil mixed together. So, instead of a sinking suspicion, we're going to do that. So I'm going to take the plug out. Yep, completely soaked. So I think what's in the tank is water. And blow this off, and then pull the cord with the plug out. Try to evacuate as much as I can, and then try this again. Everything's dry. Pull the cord 5-6 times. Really nothing much came out. Now, I have nothing to say that plug is good, but I'm assuming water is also not combustible. You know, that helps. Or maybe there's just more in there. Or it's a bad coil. Pull the plug. And it was still wet, but let's dry it off and see if it even has spark. No. Let's try a different plug. Attempt number 2. Oh, we have spark now. Okay. I wonder if this whole thing just because of a bad spark plug. See, the irony in that is, can't tell you how many times bought something and the person said, oh yeah, probably just needs a new spark plug and it needed like a whole rebuild, and this one might just have needed a new spark plug. Even though we have a spark thing figured out, well, kind of, I took a smell of this and it's disgusting. So we're just gonna, I'm not even going to imagine that I'm going to get away with not cleaning this. That's just not gonna happen. And clean this off. And then we will put a new diaphragm and clean this out. Yeah, after I just took a real brief view in there. Like, yeah, no. And like I said, that just smelled horrible. And this diaphragm and gasket is cheap. And I just know if I didn't do this, I probably would have ran, or would be shooting more and more water into the cylinder. And just causing more and more problems. That is some type of gasoline and water. Right there was water. So I'm gonna empty all this out, blow it out so it's nice and dry. Ooh, I wonder if you can see this. Check this out. See all that in there? That's not good. Okay, now this doesn't have as much water as an Aquafina bottle. We can get back to work. Sure glad when you buy these gaskets or these diaphragms, they don't come crinkled or anything. That would just be a shame, huh? Okay, this is going to take a little finessing. So two things. One, even if this wasn't full of water, still want to do this because this diaphragm is pretty important. It's our fuel pump, as well as it will cause there to be a lot of problems when you're just running with the carb. You could run rich. And when you do clean your carb out, if you ever have water, oops, I need to put the little spring back on. If you ever do have water, make sure that you thoroughly remove it. Which also means taking your primer bulb and priming it without anything on there or in there. That will evacuate all the water and take your air compressor. Be very careful when you do so. You don't want to blow into the same passage and completely and blow your bulb out unless you want to replace the primer bulb, which if it's bad you should. This one's pretty good, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. This is a plastic carb, so the name of the game isn't strength, it's consistency and evenness. Just do your crisscross like so. And once you're done, you can go ahead and tighten them again. Like I said, it doesn't have to be super tight. Oh, I forgot this one. Whoops. If you put it in too tight, you could potentially warp it or crack it. Neither one of which is too good. Now, even, like I said, if I didn't have to do this, it was running fine, just with no spark. I still like doing this just because if for any reason the engine's bad, I could take this off and put this on pretty much any Briggs and Stratton like this. They all match up. What did we do? Put new gas in there, dry the tank out completely and thoroughly, new diaphragm, clean the carb out. There is oil, it's black, needs to run. I want to get it warm so it's a better change. And then air filter looks good, not going to worry much about that. Spark plug is new, most stereotypical thing in the world happened, a bad plug. Who would guess that actually happens? And other than that, I think it's time for a test. I'm going to give it a couple primes, see what happens. I wanted to bring up the fact that when it's new, you have to prime it more. You want to fill up those cavities. Shot a whole bunch of water and oil out of the muffler. That's to be expected though. So when that happens, it's going to look like your engine's bad. Your engine is probably not bad. You probably just have oil in your muffler. That happens with a variety of reasons. None of them are usually bad. A perfectly healthy engine is going to have a little bit of oil if it's been sitting long enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run, change the oil, and then everything. All of a sudden the blade does need a little attention. So after all that, pressure wash it. This one should be good to go. Well, if you're having a no spark condition on this style, even though you assume you're just going to have to replace the plug, sometimes you might actually have to replace the plug. So who would guess? Okay, well, hope to see you next time. Have a good night. Definitely subscribe. Later. Now I want to clarify that muffler part. If you were to run for a while, it's still going to smoke. Turn it off. If you still see smoke for a while, it's probably smoke in your muffler. If you turn it off and you don't see smoke for about 30 seconds to a minute later, it's probably coming from your engine. And if you never see it stop smoking, that's your engine. But if it is in your muffler, it will just burn itself off. Okay, just want to clarify that. Have a good night.